a quick interview with Mr. Joey Foley and the lovely Mr. Renee. What was your last name, darling?
Riddle.
Riddle. Renee Riddle.
You sound like the preacher when I got married.
There you go.
He did. He forgot my name.
Oh, no, that's... Well, let's save that for the podcast here in just a second.
Sorry.
And after we conclude this podcast, Joey Foley, Renee, and Miss Kelly Black, I saw them make sure they weren't heading out the door, are going to come up and regale us with the Joey Foley trio tonight, all right? So give us a second here, we'll get things kicking off.
See how loud that is?
Except for when you're out there, you can't hear.
I know.
I know, guys. I do apologize, but we're recording all of this, and so to get the good quality, we manage the mics the way they are, and we try to compensate for it in the house, but these mics are very sensitive, so... All right.
They hear a gnat fart.
They hear a gnat fart? Is that what you just said?
That's what I thought he said.
That is exactly what he said.
Composure.
Yeah, all right. Like I said, who knows where this is going to go? All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Roadkill Podcast. My name is Laurel, and down on the other end of Mr. Mark Roadkill Custom Drums there as your co-host tonight. And we are joined by Mr. Joey Foley and Miss Renee here tonight. Welcome to the show, folks.
Thank you.
Welcome. Big round of applause for them. We are live tonight at the Laugh Out Lounge, and we're going to be hearing you guys perform in just a few minutes. But I've actually been seeing a lot from you guys, especially Mr. Joey here, playing all over Florida. You've been getting around, musically.
Yes, sir.
So tell me a little bit about some of your where'd you get your start? Have you been playing your whole life, or is this a recent undertaking?
I've pretty much been on a stage since I was about 10 years old.
Okay.
Performing here and started out right here in Polk County, and looks like I'm gonna end it up right here in Polk County.
Do some clogging for you.
Oh Lord.
Oh yeah, I wanted to ask about that too. Clogging.
I started out as a dancer, believe it or not. At 10 years old, I got involved in a clogging group here in Polk County, and this was back in the late 70s. And what was really cool about that was folks here in Polk County didn't really know what clogging was. But I had a family member that came from the Waynesville, North Carolina area, and he kind of brought it to Florida and taught all us kids how to dance. And once we started dancing, we was just the biggest thing since grits and greens around here. So at a very young age, I was involved in a lot of very big shows with a lot of big country stars, and I was just a little kid. I mean, one of my first big stars I ever met, I think I was about 12 years old, and I got to do a show with Mr. Jim Stafford.
Wow, what a small world. That's super cool.
And I always love to tell the story about Jim because I was about 12 years old, and Jim was hot off of spiders and snakes, and the city of Winter Haven had a party for him where they presented him with the key to the city, and all our city dignitaries were there. It was down at Cypress Gardens in front of the big old house on the lake, and I was part of the entertainment package for that night. So the little group of kids that I was with, of course, I went right up to Jim and asked for an autograph, and he was just very gracious and gave me one. So I go back. The other kid said, "Hey, I'm scared. Will you go get me one?" So I went up to him, "Mr. Stafford, can I have another autograph?" And he's like, "Okay, kid," and he gave me another autograph. I go back to my group of friends. I gave her the autograph. The other little girl wants one. So I go back to Jim the third time. Now Jim is trying to have a conversation with adults, okay?
Yeah.
And there's this little kid that's pulling, and he looks down at me and said, "Hey, boy, this is the last time, all right?" And I was old enough, and my parents had taught me well enough that I knew what "hey, boy, this is the last time" meant. But I'll never forget that. But he was still just as gracious as it could be. But after the third time, I was getting a little annoying, and I understood completely. But so getting to meet Jim was a big deal to me. And then, of course, we went on to do a lot of big shows with a lot of big stars, like I said, because at that time, we were a group of kids, that were putting on one heck of a hee-haw kind of show, and folks just loved us, and we took off from there, So I did that for about till I was in my early 20s, and then I started my own group. Had a school in Auburndale and over in Haines City where I taught kids for another 30 years.
I was just going to ask about that.
Yeah, and did it. I danced for about 45 years total, and
how old are you?
Yeah, exactly. So after around 2015, I finally had to retire my knees and my ankles and my old man hips. were starting to get the best of me, So I was very
You can
blessed.
see that
though.
when we both get up to leave
Yeah.
here in a minute.
I was very blessed though that
First two steps.
because of during all that dancing, I was also singing and playing and writing, but my focus was on my group of kids that I worked with. So once I got through dancing, I was actually able to focus more on the music part of things. Because there's nothing scarier than being on a stage for 40 years and then all of a sudden one day it's like, oh shit, what am I going to do now? So I grabbed my guitar and just found a place and someone would let me play, and before I knew it, someone else called and let me play, and then now I play every dang weekend, okay?
That's awesome. We love to hear you, man.
You do old Reds, you go all the way up to Nashville,
Yeah.
right?
Been blessed to be able to do that. And I got to tell you about Renee.
Yeah, I was going to
Let's
say.
talk- we're
like,
gonna
because
segue into
Right,
that
Miss
right now.
Renee here, me and Renee met at around about the same time. I think I was about 12 or 13. You were 10 or 11 years old. And she was playing her fiddle
was
with
she one of the
her.
ones that asked for the autograph?
No, she But she,
I wasn't that blessed to meet Jim back then. So.
but her family had a bluegrass band, her mama
right.
and her sisters, and we all performed together. And of course, I was always dancing, and then her family would let me get up and sing a song in their show. And then it didn't take long. Well, Joey, we're going to such and such. You want to come with us?
Yep.
And Mama'd come pulling up there in that van at my house and pick me up, And I'd tell my mom, "Hey, Mom, I'm going. I'm 14 years old. I'm going to do a show, And it was, and that's what we did
Yep.
when we were little,
Yeah.
Some kids played football, some kids did ballet. We did music when we were
That's
growing
right.
up, because it was. We loved being in front of people and acting a fool.
Some of it ain't acting.
Yeah.
That sounds like you got some stories on Mr. Joey here.
Well, the one story is always crazy because when we were little, Renee's mama was very protective of Renee. And of course, Joey was a boy, I was all boy, okay? So, but she also had two older sisters, so they would take me off with them, but it's like Mama would be in the van and one sister would be in the front there, and Renee and the other sister. Me, I'm all the way in the back of the van, okay?
As far
Out
away
of
as you can be.
reach.
Instruments
Yes.
between you and the girls.
Okay, I'm going to interrupt here.
Oh,
I
go for
have
it.
to tell this story every time I'm out with Joey. So, like he said, I grew up in a family bluegrass band, all females. But I had the biggest crush on this guy. I was like 10, 12 years old. Joey, every time we pull up, he'd hug Mama, he'd hug Lucy, he'd hug Bayo, and he'd go, "How you doing, Renee?" I got the head
Your
pat.
mama was watching.
Look at his face turn so red.
But we both
Tell
did
you
good.
what he was thinking.
Yeah.
We both did good. He ended up with a good girl. I ended up with a good guy. But I never forget the head pat.
But it's really cool that it started way back then, and now everything's kind of full circle. And we've been working together with Miss Kelly for the last year or so, and having the most fun I've had
Yes.
musically in my entire life. Just
Yeah.
being relaxed.
I've
and
seen some of the best shows with you three together.
Unrehearsed.
And Kelly, it's coming up here in a second. But I mean, it's the trio's been a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're all non-rehearsed.
Unrehearsed.
Jam
Yes.
sessions.
Yep.
So it's
Really?
like they get up and they jam just with their history of playing together, and it's always excellent.
thank you.
Well, I
It's
think
a
you
lot
can
of
talk
fun.
to anybody that's in a band. Like the big part of cohesion is like knowing each other, not just as people, but knowing each other as musicians, and that takes
Right.
a lot of time.
Right.
Yeah, it's like souls coming together. Like I said, Mr. Blake's his band, they've been playing together for a while, and you can see it when you see people that have been playing together. You can feel that connection that's between them, and it really does radiate out. There's no secrets when you're on a stage. People can tell if you're genuine. People can tell if
right.
you're having fun. People can tell if you love what you do. People can tell if you've been playing together. They can tell, and it all comes out on stage. But speaking of which, I'm actually going to plug you real quick right here because you guys are going to do a listening room with us later on this spring, if I'm not
Yes,
mistaken.
sir.
I believe,
Yes.
yeah. So keep an eye out for that when that comes to light.
And I'm
It'll be a
looking
lot of
forward
fun.
to that because it gets, we do these classic country shows and we do all the covers. But for the listening room, I'm going to put together a night of nothing but original songs that I have
That's
written.
right.
So that I'm excited about that because we don't get to play original music out in front of folks a whole lot. I mean, I'm going to throw one at you.
Freebird!
Yeah, exactly. I want to hear Freebird, So and you got to.
Mark's the Freebird guy.
No,
So I'm excited to play some of my original songs for folks.
Well, we're excited for that
Yeah.
too. Well, so speaking of which, we'll go ahead and do a quick raffle here and let you guys get off stage so you can get your instruments ready because we're gonna have you guys come up and perform a nice set to close the night out. You guys ready for that
Then
tonight?
we're gonna give away a bunch of crap and a couple more songs, and then we'll be gone.
All right, so let's go ahead and let these guys.
Crap.
Yeah. And then,
Okay.
Well, it ain't crap, but yeah, all right.
It's cool.
Thank
So, I
you.
mean, I'm
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
having us.
Okay,
Joey,
it's
Renee,
not
thank you
just
so much for
crap.
joining us on the podcast tonight.
There's some very cool stuff, handmade drumstick, not handmade. Connie, it's repurposed. Very cool. They were fractal burnt drumsticks that she did all kinds of painting and stuff on. I've got.
They're cool. We'll show those off here in just a second.
Clock. We've got CDs.
Got a couple of Renee Riddle CDs over there.
Yeah.
I'm old
those are
school. You
cool.
can use them for
We
coasters.
have
So.
we have T-shirts. We have drum head. We got a bunch of stuff going. So you have to stay to the end, but we're going.
All right.
All right.
Let's go let these guys get off
Thank
stage and we'll
you.
do a quick raffle. Thank you
What
guys.
do
We'll
we
let y'all
get
get
this
your
time?
equipment set up and we'll get
Sure.
this
Hold
raffle
on.
underway.
Let's give something away.
Well, we're gonna let them go get their. All right.
He don't listen. He don't listen very well.
He doesn't.
I don't.
What Connie said too.
You've been talking about these drumsticks. Let's say we do those.
Let's do the drumsticks.
Drumsticks. Let's do one of
And the
CDs.
CDs.
Do CD. You want to do
Okay.
both CDs?
Yeah, but we want to hear about these CDs before we just give away.
Yeah.
Tell us what they are.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce to you? No. So, as we said earlier, Joey and I both started out playing music when we were young. I was 10 years old playing with my bluegrass band. While I was playing with my bluegrass band later on in life, I met my husband, Eddie Rockin' Rattlesnake Riddle. We recorded a CD, Vintage Hearts Beat, so there's some music on there from my husband and I. I have an original on that. It's a gospel song that I wrote. He has an original on there as well. I went out on my own for a while with the Renee Riddle Show, touring up into North Carolina and some shows here in Florida. And so some of the songs are on this CD. Devil Went Down to Georgia. That is the one song I did get to perform with Mr. Charlie Daniels himself 2 years in a row at the Tampa Hard Rock. So a little bit of music from me, but it's old school on CDs. Sorry.
Okay.
Nothing wrong with that. Ready?
Last three is 6. Whoa. 3. They're all threes. Just get used to it. 363.
363. Gotcha.
Right
up
here,
up
front row. Bartow in the house.
Go in the house. Hey, you download those and send me a copy so I can hear them.
You got it, brother. Congratulations.
Oh, we got one more.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, give us just a second. We're
Hold
gonna
on.
set it.
We got one more.
You want to do one more?
Joey's shirt.
Joey's shirt. Is that this one right here? Here you go.
Well, they could have brought us a steak and we could be, while they're.
You want to do
Just sit here
the
and
painted head or the clock head? The clock symbol?
No, the shirt.
Yeah, we're doing the shirt. You want to do something
No.
on this one too? All right. All right.
Okay, we gotta tell you about this shirt real quick. Joey Foley Classic Country shirt. Somebody say yeehaw! Yeehaw! Get her done.
371.
371. Ooh, I heard a woo from the back over there.
I didn't hear a yeehaw. I heard a
Oh,
whoop.
yeah, I heard it. It's supposed to say yeehaw.
It's the Brocklesby family just racking up right now.
All right, there you go.
Well, Brocklesby and soon to be free.
All right, who's the stick?
Soon to be free.
All right, folks, give us just a second. We're gonna get